right, welcome back, guys. Sorry about yesterday's little setup was a little bit of a hiccup, but much better today. Set up much better, so hope you guys are doing well. What's up, Eric? Yeah, really appreciate you. What's up, Johnny M? So yeah, he did have some really good trades. Almost kind of doubled an account in a week. So about I don't know, I think 6,000 in profit for the week, which is pretty good. I would like to actually be higher, but that's kind of how it is sometimes. So. Yeah, ultimately, let's get into the charts a little bit here. Let me just make this screen a little bit bigger. And yeah, here we go. So everything looks good. And yeah, I mean, look, we're hitting this point, right now for Bitcoin. And I should show you the trades too. Let me just show you because people always want to see that. Apologies. I know one person was a little bit angered by it. No, not angered. But it was like, where are the trades? Okay. Too much mumbling. But anyway, so right here, you got them over on BidFi. BidFi is really good. BloFin's great as well. Both of those are the two main, non-KYC exchanges that I think are good to use. Right now, a lot of good pairs and all that. You get 10% off your fees for life over on BloFin and also over on BidFi down below with my link, only with my link. So check it out if you guys are interested. The Sui trade, it doesn't show the exact amount of profits that were taken, but it was over $2,000, worth of profits taken. So that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens here, but I'm happy about it. So that's that. And let's see here. So yeah, let's just we could, all right. Just so I know people like to see the trade, so we'll just we'll keep this in the downward area, and we will look at what's going on in the charts here. So yeah, ultimately, when we look at this, we're looking at Bitcoin. Shout out to Jason Casper for coining that term, I believe. But yeah, potentially jumping up to 96 next. As we come into Friday, it may get a little bit trickier, may get a little choppy, as you see, but what a recovery, man. I mean, we pumped, let's see how much we pumped so far, about 26% from that low. As I've been telling you guys we would, and now we're 13% down from all-time highs. So if you can keep this trajectory, potentially, I would say probably best case scenario would be 120K within a month to 2 months, maybe. My guess, hard to exactly see, but my guess would be that we would, get to our high around Bitcoin conference or a few weeks after, around that end of May, early June area, and then we go into our typical summer lull. So what would that look like? Let's just map this out a little bit. If it probably won't continue to go up as aggressively. Let's say we get up to 112, slightly higher high or something, or maybe get up to that area. I mean, I don't know. Tough to exactly say. And then you kind of get your bleed into your general summer bleed. Let's say that last a couple months depresses us a little bit, but altcoins. Let's say altcoins. I think there's a good shot. Altcoins hold up relatively well if we do see that, and then you're kind of to your home stretch, hopefully hitting 150K. People talked about 200K. I mean, I wouldn't say it's off the table. It gets more likely the higher we go that you could, get up to your 200K or whatever. So there's still that potential. A lot of people ask me, when are you going to sell? When are you going to get out? And I mean, it's in my free crypto DCA course. I know somebody, I was looking at the comments of Paul Barron one time. Somebody was complaining about the free crypto DCA course. It was too half-assed. About the completely free course. Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's probably somebody who's not going to make that much money. They could be a billionaire for all I know. Who knows? But but anyway, ultimately, and I'll be on Paul Barron tomorrow, I believe. Yeah. So I think it's at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking about some of this stuff. So ultimately. Here's the trajectory that I really want to see, and I think it's definitely possible to see a trajectory. We already confirmed that weekly, maybe your 2 week gives us some continuation here. So there's definitely potential. So yeah. And then weekly on Ethereum right there. Kind of that deep wave there, and then hopefully jumping back up to 2,500 or more here. So yeah, XRP Queen, what's up? Yeah, Eldorado crypto, Where isn't that Eldorado in Puerto Rico? Could be wrong. Forget what that means. ApeCoin trying to hold 50 cents. Yeah, there's some, potentials for more of those NFTs, that stuff to start to fight back a little bit. I wanted to look at Ordi. I haven't looked at this in a minute. Well, it's been coming up a little bit. So, yeah, you got your full, all the speculation, then down to fair value. And not actually fair value, but you know what I mean. Down to like, before anything significant happened. And now trying to recover. So only way to go is up. Not really. It could go to zero, but who knows? I think there's a good shot here. People have talked about Undo Finance. Undo Finance is making a higher low here, so that's good. I think there's potential. I know there's a lot of good, trajectory behind this. I believe I have a small position in it, nothing crazy, but yeah, I mean, probably best case scenario between $3 and $5. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, and we always appreciate you. Darren does things. Yeah, smash the likes, guys. Always appreciate that, especially for these trades. And check out links down below for the exchanges if you want one per month. All the Empire VIP Discord. If you deposit this $100 in any exchanges, open up a breakout account, or somebody asked about the damn breakout account. I will answer. Yeah, discount code is Evan. I think you do have to type it in. Somebody asked about that in the Discord. I forgot to respond to them. I'll respond to them after this stream. Remind me. But discount code, you have to type it as Evan, which I think is stupid. I like everything about them except that. I mean, they're in the freaking 1980s here with it. You have to type in the discount code. You can't just click the link. I think somebody signed up my link, and I don't make that much off of it. Believe me, I do not make. I'd probably make $50 to $100 for every goddamn person that signs up. It's nothing. It's less than nothing. I can't even buy a damn steak with that. But, but still, yeah, I don't even know. But still, check it out. The discount code is Evan. I think it's a good option, especially. I know I was talking to some people that have done really, really well with that. I feel like the higher ups and stuff are not going to let us do that forever, the prop trading like that with that amount, because it just lets like any person who, knows what they're doing kind of in terms of trading to get, up to 200 grand really. If you can get 2 accounts and you could get, even if you could get just 10% of that a month, that's, 20 grand a month. If you get freaking 10% a year, that's 20 grand a year. Now, it's not a lot, but I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, it's something. That's S&P 500. Most people don't have 200 grand to put in the S&P 500 to even mess around with this. So, anyway, man, I'm just trying to think here. Shoot. Let's see. So that was Hondo, Cardano making higher lows. I think that's pretty good. So the big thing, the thing that we want to really talk about here, really look at. So others versus Bitcoin. A lot of you probably know the patterns. If you don't, the pattern was here. It bottomed December 2016. 4 years and 1 month later, bottom in January 21. 4 years and 1 month later was this wick, which would be February of 25. Slightly lower low, but you're holding that area. So I still think the 4 year cycle with this is somewhat intact, as long as you hold this area. Now, if you lose this convincingly, then there's a problem. But I mean, as long as we hold this area, that's a possibility that's bottoming out against Bitcoin. A lot of these could be, bottoming out against Bitcoin, which is important to look at, important to realize here. So just keep that in mind. That's important. Potentially a really good place to get alts. ETH versus ETH dominance, trying to bounce. Who knows what the hell will happen here? I think it should be able to bounce. I think it made a slightly lower low, but now it's more above. Let's look at ETH versus Bitcoin, the most depressing chart in crypto history. Slightly higher high, which is still good. Is this where we bottom? I don't know. But I think if you do see, your 2 week finally give you a green dot, you see your weekly, that's, looking better, I guess. I don't know. 3 week, some things like that. Excuse the language. Hopefully you turn around. Yeah, it could go lower, who knows, but hopefully you turn around. So there's that. Bull divs. Tana, yeah. Landed gold, Eldorado, okay. It's like a ton. Toncoin, I know their CEO got arrested or something, so there's a little bit of a little mix up. That's the chart that has a lot of data, yeah. Decent area. It could turn around. It's kind of lost some hype. I think there were some decent fundamentals behind this. So yeah, I think there's potential to jump back to $5 or more. SWE is one that did a lot, and I did have, if you guys want to see, I was, not expecting it to play out this quickly. I did a long yesterday, 20 p.m., already hit that first take profit. That's this trade right here, took a lot of profits from that, hanging on to the Bitcoin for now. So yeah, and, Bitcoin, are we hitting, yeah, the place I was, that was yesterday, the place I'm looking at 96.7, so yes, that's what I'm looking at right there. Look at Chainlink. Trying to jump up from that. Still think that's got it in it. Yeah, Chainlink's got a lot of potential here. This could be the next one. I mean, SWE jumped. This could be one I should take a long on. Generally I've had the most luck on the legacy alts with decent fundamentals for, 3-to-1 right there. It could take its time or it could jump up immediately. Who the hell knows? I didn't even see the news, but Polygon pumped? 5. It's about damn time. God. Let's see. 25 cents. Yeah. Well, that's about goddamn time. 64%. Let's go. Finally. It's like a Maddox. You can just see how depressing this thing is. It's probably still, yeah. But fighting back. If you could hold that low, 29 cents, and you got something. You got a little something. A little something. Did Trump coin continue to pump? I have a feeling it might have. Not really. No, it's coming back down a little bit. If anybody knows where the NFTs, the original, one of NFTs that are not being traded on Magic Eden, I know they're going to crypto.com. I don't know when. If anyone knows when, let me know. I don't know if I'm most hopeful on that, but we'll see what happens. Now we got May, Fed. It's probably still going to be a pause. I guess it's good news that Trump's not going to fire Powell. Could have been a little agreement that Powell is going to be more lenient. So we'll see. And Trump is laying out. Not a surprise there. 2028 for Trump. It could be Trump Jr. That's what I think is more likely than Trump Sr. running for a third term, as Steve Bannon has said. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they'll try to do that. That's not really a surprise there in my opinion. That's kind of typical of what we would kind of expect to happen knowing Trump. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And I'm sure whatever the media says will probably help that out too. So yeah. Let's see. Link trades a charm Trump coins and wave that didn't reach that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Trump coin could fight back. I mean, regardless of whether something's a Ponzi or not, that doesn't mean it can't pump. Token unlock pressure. Curious about those NFTs though. Well, let's look at. This doesn't follow it the best, but I'm too lazy to get on CoinGecko and look at BYDFI NFTs. That's still down. But if you look at the ETH evaluation on, and your funding rates are still negative for Bitcoin, which means we probably have some more gas left in the tank for this rally. I think you're probably going to keep going here now. Let's see. BYDFI Yacht Club, that's 2.44 ETH. Pretty good on its ETH evaluation. We want this to jump higher. I think we will eventually jump higher. We just want to keep fighting back. Hopefully get back up to that 4 ETH. That wouldn't be too bad. I mean, it'd be probably $8,000 a pop or something, which is not the highest, but also not the lowest. These used to go for $100,000 at one point. So we'll see what the hell happens. Top 200 owners. We'll get to have dinner with them for Trump Coin. Okay. It doesn't sound scammy at all. Man, personal brand is so big nowadays. It's all personal brand. Social media and personal brand, so that's jumping right there. Meta coming down, but trying to recover. Let's look at Triple Q. It's obviously up. as I suspected it would be. A bit of a recovery there. I mean, if you got in at these lows, you'd be up about 16%. Not too bad. Not too bad. I want to look at ETH itself a little bit. And I do think you got a good shot of getting up to 18, and then why not 2,000 could be your next thing, at least based on some of these higher time frames. I mean, it got demolished, but now you're up freaking from 13 to you're up about 30%. You get up to 2,000, it's about 50%. So then you're kind of back in business. You get up to 2,000, you're back at like August 24 lows. So kind of back in business. And I think this can show a lot of strength. You know, if it doesn't now, it's probably going to, you know, June onward when QT ends. At least against Bitcoin. For what could finally be, you know, we could finally see some action. So I think the next big target, 32 on AVAX. So then you're kind of back in business because you're like only a little bit below your, you know, December 24 lows. Kind of SWE would be at that 40% down. Only SWE would be kind of close to that, you know. And I have a feeling I'll be doing some TA on SWE tomorrow, but yeah, $4 potentially. Your price still down like what? You know, 36%. It's nothing too terrible. You know, a lot of this is fought back, and I think there's more gas in the tank for the rest of the year. You know, as we get into May, as we get into June, as we get into quarter 3, quarter 4. But there will be there probably will be a summer pullback like usual. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. Man, let's see here. SWE by December. Well, let's take a look. I mean, anywhere probably. I could be wrong, but anywhere probably from $6 to $10, I would say. $6 to $10 by December. Price $10. I think AVAX may have more potential, but we'll see. Solana probably has still jumped, but nothing insane yet. But if you can break above, you know, I would do it from the bottom of this range. Well, all right, let's be a little bit more optimistic. From that range to that, yeah, I mean 200 would be next. 200 would be a good place to look next. So yeah, just thinking here. Well, let's see. So we looked at Fed Watch tool. I mean, your next cut is likely going to be in June, and then you're probably going to see another one in July, and then a pause, and likely another one in October. Or no, is that what's it? 1, 2, 3. I think that is that. 375. Now, yeah, likely another one in October, and likely even another one in December. So that's 4 cuts, I think, right? Yeah, June, July. So you're still kind of priced in almost 4 cuts for the year. So, you know, could bring your interest rates down. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm bullish on SWE too. I don't know if it's going to do as good as some other things, but I think a 3x could definitely be in the picture. Absolutely possible. So yeah. And let's see here. So, okay, that was Mutant Ape. I mean, we looked at a few things. I'm just curious about CryptoPunks too. I mean, only down 90% now. I mean, what was the ETH value? About 100 ETH at the top. 43 ETH. So you're down 50% on your ETH evaluation, which is not terrible. Yeah, I feel like there's something here a little bit. How about Pudgies? I mean, I'm curious about. Okay, all-time high. That was more of a recent all-time high, December of 24, which was 30. You're down 60% there, but I mean, oh yeah, these came out late. These weren't even yeah, these were a whole nother ball game. But yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, like mutants, yeah, 40 to 2, but yeah, it's more of a. I mean, what are you down on your ETH value of 93? I think there could be a lot of money going into these. Could be wrong. Azuki was interesting. They kind of printed more of these, but they had a nice jump up out of nowhere. I feel like he may get back there at some point at 12. We'll see. Everything's fine. 1 to 2 cut. Well, the betting odds will not tell you 1 to 2 cuts. They would tell you 3 to 4. The Pengu token, I haven't looked at that. I would probably argue that would probably do similar to whatever the hell ApeCoin does. It's starting to recover now, so could be potential here. I'm more of an ApeCoin guy, but I don't. That's not really based on the the best logic, if you know what I mean. But we'll see. We'll definitely have to see here. Whales are getting bullish on SWE long term. I believe it. So let's see. Crypto.com too was. I mean, it hasn't done much as of late. A little pump with everything else, but it could be a nice jump up. We get up to like 20-30 cents here. That's the thing. Just keep making these higher highs, and I think you should for a while to the end of the year, hopefully. So yeah, Bitcoin dominance is probably down, I would think. 64. I mean, I think kind of any week now, any month now, I would say any week now is going to be your top for this. Assuming you get that bear div. So you're like real close. Do you get a final jump up to 66? Maybe. Hard to say. I mean, if you follow the trend, yes, but yeah, Matic is moving at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, okay. 26 cents. Wow, yeah. 5, yeah. Matic got a nice jump. I mean, from freaking goddamn 15 cents up 77. I mean, God. She's back a little bit. Weakest altcoin season for Friday code. Let's see. Weakest altcoin. These Friday codes are in a full. Yeah, I would think so too, especially legacy alts PG. I think so too, James. CRO definitely will surprise a lot of people. I think there's a lot of potential. I think a lot of people probably sold in the last 2 months, a lot of retail because they were scared because they needed to pay bills because they thought we were going into a recession. Rinse, repeat. You know what I mean? Then we come back, rinse, repeat. That's kind of how it is. But follow the 4-year cycle for now. Hold on to the end of the year. You only got fucking, excuse the language, 8 more months, 7 more months. Think about it. I mean, some of you may not even live that long. I'm just kidding. Jeez, I shouldn't have made that bad joke. Forget I said that. that would be like incentive to sell. No, we don't. It's not that long. But anyway, let's see. What was that other Mocha? I mean, some people really follow all the most esoteric stuff. That's like, isn't it supposed to be like ApeCoin or something? Maybe jumping up. I don't know. But yeah, and let's see. Well, I want to let's look at the top coins at CoinGecko. We'll see a lot. Come on. Cryptocurrencies, you kids in the cryptocurrency. So Tether is fighting to catch up to ETH. I don't think it will, though. I think ETH is going to keep its position. I could be wrong. But XRP, I don't even feel like looking at that. BNB, well, Tron's looking good, but it's going to be kind of quiet as of late. Tron is still kind of, still been kind of looking good, but it's been quiet. Been quiet as of late. And then, okay, so you got Tron, which I think you got a good shot of continuing forward. BNB, big cap. That's what it stands for, the B, big cap, big market cap now. I think eventually you can get up to that 1,000 mark. I don't know if you're going to get up to 1,500 or 2,000, but knowing BNB, probably will. Who knows? But that 1,000 mark is a good goal here. What's up, Decrypto? So yeah. Yeah, I mean, CRO, a lot of diversification of these coins makes a lot of sense here. I mean, with monetary policy, they go down lower on their Bitcoin pairs? Sure. I mean, some of them will go to probably freaking 0 against Bitcoin or just keep bleeding, but that's just life. But yeah, that's just how it is. Okay, so that was BNB. I think you can continue. Looks decent. We looked at AVAX. Just a few, legacy alts, Uniswap. That's been a little bit not too good as of late, but not even a hidden bull div, but I don't know. I think Uniswap has some potential. What was that other? Oh yeah, Atom. That's probably been depressed. Still depressing, but if you could hold that area, yeah, some of these legacy alts are just still depressing. Atoms. Let's see what happens. I mean, this was like on the Atom chain. One of these, it's kind of gone to zero now, but we'll see what happens. What was the other? There's there was Undo, there was Tau. Yeah, that's another new one that's probably gone to shit, right? Yeah, well, no, not really. Trying to jump off there, maybe get back to 700. Let's see. Yeah, Ethereum. Yeah, Ochka says it'll be done in 10 years. Well, I mean, they always kind of have to say that. That could be a bottom signal. That could be a big bottom signal for ETH. Everybody who says stuff like that always gets. I'm not gonna say the crude terminology, but they always get. Like, when I mean somebody, whenever you say that, you get effed. Like, your whole life falls apart sometimes. Like, I remember somebody in high school who he was always talking about how he was going to drive Lambos when he was older and all this stuff, and how he was smarter than everybody and all this, or maybe his standards just smarter than me. I don't know. It's not relevant, but man, everybody, if not almost everybody, almost everybody who's always saying that type of stuff, really esoteric, really, really, really like, audacious. I don't even know what audacious means, but, I mean, I'm not, nothing really that bad happened to him, but man, compared to his goals, nowhere even close. He's doing the same, and I'll probably get jinxed for saying this and fall off a cliff, but he's doing the same thing he was always like criticizing people for doing. Be careful when you criticize people too. You got to read that book, How to Win Friends, Influence People, by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie. Good book, really good book, and a lot of people should read that, especially if you have no friends and everyone hates you. It's probably you. No, I'm just kidding. Don't criticize, genuine compliments. Yeah, so, let's see. Charles said 200K Bitcoin 24. I mean, it's a problem, too, when everybody starts saying a goddamn number. I think 150 is more likely. It depends. It could happen. I don't know. I mean, usually these guys, like, just think about it this way. Like, I would say 90% of the predictions that anyone that relevant has are always wrong. They're usually always wrong, sadly. Because there's just so many people watching them, and it just becomes, you could get there, sure. I don't know. Hard to say. Maybe you'll be right, but usually they're wrong. It's kind of like everyone is wrong. I think that the main thing is like every TA prediction is wrong. Every person who has a prediction is wrong. Some predictions and some TA is less wrong than others. that's the main thing we'll hear. Every model is wrong. Some are less wrong than others. Because no one exactly gets it right. The one prediction that was kind of right, that a lot of people got to the T this time. The damn, legacy media, no. They were all saying Kamala was probably going to win a landslide. I don't know what the hell they were saying. But there were some good people, like, for example, like Red Eagle Politics, people like projecting the 2024 election. I think they got it right to the T every damn state, which is rare. Usually there's always one surprise there. But yeah. Like Georgia last time, Georgia and Arizona were surprised. The surprise before that was probably all the Rust Belt that Trump won. The surprise in 2012 was probably Obama keeping Florida, even though Romney was supposed to win it or whatever. Surprise in 2008 was Obama probably winning Indiana. That was kind of a fluke. Even North Carolina. Yeah, like the freaking Twitter beef. I don't even I don't have time to pay attention to stuff. I'm just chilling with my nice camera and my couch. I don't have time to. I have better things to do. Big on Pepe is ETH blue cheap. I'm peppy as my blue chip. Let's see what. Yeah, I'm overseas. I mean, I'm not. I'm in one spot for a while, so yeah. I mean, I'm living in different places. I helped curl between what? Okay. Yeah, it's like yeah. I don't know. If you actually understand beef that's going on Twitter, you spend too much time on Twitter. You got to go to the beach, go outside. You know, it's just. I don't have time for this stuff. It's like the damn Kardashians, man. And yeah, I have better things to do and read than all this goddamn drama. Take an IQ test. um, oh, those have various accuracy. Hmm. Sunny Isles. What are you learning Russian up there? That's all the Russian area, right? It's funny. I feel like it's a wealthy. I've been up there a handful of times. It's not that far from Miami, but yeah, I mean it's near Aventura, I think, which is it's a nice area. I mean, South Florida is nice. I mean, where I am right now in Mexico, it feels too Floridaized, not even Americanized, Floridaized, in terms of like freaking drinking 7-Eleven coffee right here. It just feels too America. You know what I mean? But what I will tell you is like I feel like if you want the tropical place, Mexico and Costa Rica, like that tropics, nice beach, Mexico and Costa Rica are where it's at for that. Like it doesn't get much, it doesn't get much better than that. So yeah. What are Yiddish? Oh right. Oh yeah, I think you mean Jews. Yeah, be careful with that, man. I don't know if that's a slur right there. Yids. I don't know what Yids means. I don't know. If should I be saying that? I hope it's not anything too bad. Um, Sunny Isles, yeah, it's a wealthy. I mean, all of South Florida is pretty well. I mean, South Florida. Look, I mean, I like it. I have the income and the ability to, live there and go out and have that retirement lifestyle and all that. And it was fun. I experienced that. It was fun for the first couple months, for the first year, first 2 years, but wanted something a little bit different. It just got boring. It just got too repetitive. It's just kind of the same thing. I think it's a good thing though. But I just wanted something a little bit different. Just a little bit different type of lifestyle, a little bit different type of people. So yeah. Mm. Others is good. Yeah, I forgot to look at others. Thing too about where you live. I mean, you gotta experience different places. You gotta figure out what's right for you. What may be right for me may not be right for you, and vice versa. Different things affect different people differently. Some people can't handle living in Miami. They party too much. Some people can't handle living in a damn. Some people they have to be in the middle of nowhere with no distract. um, hmm. I do think the thing too, if you look at like the future of Florida, it's probably going to generally keep going up in value and probably generally keep going to. It's kind of like California in the '80s. It's probably still going to keep going up and appreciating. I mean, I still think that's probably one of the best places to buy real estate. Now, the only thing would be if you got, hurricanes, natural disasters, and shit like that. But I think that's a little bit exaggerated. I don't know, though. Who the hell knows? I mean, they've been saying it's going to be underwater for the past 200 years. I remember it. I was around 200 years ago. 1800s they were talking about. It would never happened. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. It's kind of like predicting stock market. Trigger waves right there. Yeah, others looks really good. I mean, I think you can see. I mean, my guess, how I drew this out a few times, it's like up here. That seems like a realistic goal, like a 3x, on average. That seems like a very realistic goal for others. It's kind of my main goal here. Get the hell out when it hits up the area or close to it. So yeah. Yeah, it just depends. Well, yeah, I know we're always gonna have hurricanes, but the last one that was actually really, really bad to hit Miami wasn't since Hurricane Andrew in the '80s. It's been freaking 40, 50 years. So I mean, if you have shit like that every year, that's bad, or every 5 years, that's really bad. But if it's not that common, it just depends how much. I mean, if it eventually becomes an unhabitable place to live, then that's a problem. And so yeah. You sold out, okay. Okay. 92 was Andrew, okay. A couple of years off. You remember it? You were around? No, I'm just kidding. XLM had a freaking face melting comeback out of nowhere. Ty Lopez was into this, a while back. Let's see. So it's a legacy, that had a face melting rally out of freaking nowhere. 700% out of nowhere, like dead and back to life out of nowhere. I don't know if it's probably just a fluke knowing altcoins, but we'll see what the hell happens. I mean, I feel like it would be tough to break above that 61, but who the hell knows? Homestead, okay. Florida real estate. I've been to Homestead once. Yeah. Let's see. Florida real estate goes up in price as it goes underwater. The insurance is a hell of a lot now. Well, I mean, it depends how you define a hell of a lot, but I mean, it's a lot. Insurance is not cheap there anymore. Florida is not cheap anymore, and my guess is it'll probably continue to generally go up if it's anything like California was in the '80s. 18 story. I'm a little bit higher in 18 stories, bro. But yeah. But I mean, it's still like you're too high up. But yeah. But the problem is like if it's all flooded in the bottom, then you can't. Some construction going on right now. Then you can't get out. 9 cents. What are you talking about? What coin, BG? Oh, XLM. Nice work. I feel like there were ways that would have been a little bit less risky, but to each their own. Central Florida, yeah, or land's probably obviously safer from the hurricanes too. It depends what you want. I mean, it really depends what you want. I mean, America is just like, it's hard to find a place like unless you got really baller money, and you're in Miami. But then there's even some things that I like in other places that in other countries that Miami doesn't have. It's hard to find like a Bali or a Playa del Carmen or like a Bangkok or there's a few other examples in other places. Buenos Aires even, certain other, you know, in Costa Rica, there's certain places that you can't really get it in America. What you get in some of the food in America is not the best thing. It's just certain things that you're just not gonna find in America that you find in other countries. Probably vice versa too, but I don't know. Altcoin season is over. I don't think we've even 700K house Compton. It has houses there. There are houses there. I think Florida's population probably would continue. I mean, there's mixed views on housing. I mean, if we follow that theory, that 20-year theory or whatever, the thing that CVO has talked about, we would see the next big pullback for housing somewhere between like 28 to 32, around there. That would be my guess. Maybe Florida would hold up better than a lot of other places. The kind of how like New York City and I think California held up pretty well in '08 too. Maybe just down 30%. Generally, the big cities do hold up better, but Florida got demolished in '08, obviously. So likely it wouldn't be that bad. Maybe just 20-30%. I don't know. I mean, if you look at Case-Shiller home index. So yeah, this is my kind of a little bit. Yeah, I mean that would be your peak around 2030. If you can get up a little bit more. Let's see, what have we done? Not too much in the last year. You've been sideways or slightly down since July of 24. So we shall see. Maybe 20 to 30% in the next 5 years could be a decent amount, and then you come all the way back down to baseline, which would be right here, kind of slightly below where we are right now. That's a big place, like this area, I would say. So yeah, I mean, what was '08 here? This was what, 50% or something insane? 33. Oh, it was only 35. Okay. I would argue the next one probably wouldn't be that catastrophic. Maybe only 25. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, people, yeah, especially since COVID, a lot of people have moved down to Market Cipher is good, yeah. Um, Compton. How was it? Was it in a good part of Compton? I mean, I don't even. Compton's considered unsafe. A lot of it, right? I'm not that much of a expert in Compton. I mean, I lived in LA 1 year, but I never went to Compton. Really, I don't think. I'm sure there's some. It's like any big city. There's probably some decent parts of Compton. I would think, right? It probably was in a safe area. Um, I mean, obviously obviously crypto is the one I prefer. But I'm not to say that you can't do well in forex. We got KMac doing forex. But pick what you want. Pick what excites you. Curious about the euro evaluation right now with all the Americans that will be irritating the hell out of the Europeans when they go there for vacation. It's coming up against the dollar. Probably will continue with the demand and the tourism, the next few months, but it's still pretty low. You know what I mean? Florida, we caught up with California. I mean, I think California, it's still high. I mean, let's see, Los Angeles. It depends where in California. Obviously, it's a big goddamn, state, but that was your drop there, and it's still going up. Let's look at Miami's. I would think this would break upward eventually here. You're sideways if you just look at what we've been doing. I mean, you're going to probably break up or down soon. I think with the stock market continuing to come back. I mean, rent prices have been down a little bit. I've noticed in Miami a little bit, but nothing too bad. So, we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. I mean, California, you got Hollywood. You got a lot of that. I mean, California, this is, people kind of probably disagree with me on this a little bit, but LA or California, it feels very American to me. You got In-N-Out Burger, hamburgers are American, very suburban. It just feels like America to me, you know what I mean? And yeah, you still have a lot of that, like, very well educated, smart demographic there with those, like, white collar jobs, and it's just that big economy. And it still has got, I mean, it's definitely declined a hell of a lot, I'll say. But it still has some aspects of that, like, American dream thing where I don't know if it's completely dead. It probably will, just given, like, history and given that things eventually all fall apart generally and somebody else takes over or whatever. Probably will fall apart at some point, but I mean, I haven't been there since 21. Maybe it's a little bit different now, maybe a little worse, I don't know. But, there's still something about it. I would think it would keep some type of glamour until, I don't know, 10 years from now. I don't know. We'll see, though. I mean, I feel like the average house price in America is what now? 400K? Good, not so good parts. Had lunch there a few times and shipped everything out of a facility there. Okay. Each part looks good in low time frames. So it's Market Cipher. There's a link down below if you're interested. I think it's the best indicator. Atlanta? I don't know. What about Atlanta? I mean, I've been there a few times. It's okay. I don't know. Or actually, I think I've only really been, other than the airport, I've only been to, like, suburbs of Atlanta. I don't know. It's just a Southern American city. I mean, what is that, the biggest city other than, like, Miami in the southern states? I mean, I'm trying to think. Maybe you got Austin, Dallas, Houston, Miami, Atlanta. Cocoa, Florida. I don't even know where that is. Where is it? Is that on the East Coast? I don't even know where that is. Yeah, I mean, you got, like, Florida, that East Coast. I mean, it's kind of boring. Like, the thing too, I've talked to a lot of people, especially when I was in Asia. Like, some people have been to America or visited America. Like, America's not that interesting. Like, it is a generally kind of boring, a boring kind of country compared to, most of the rest of the world, I would say. Compared to any, like, major city in Asia, it's kind of boring. Or, even probably some parts of Europe or, Cobb County. I don't even know. Is that in Florida? I think that is, right? Yeah, I've lived in Florida 10 years and I don't even know some of the stuff you guys are mentioning. Houston Metro, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dallas, I mean, I feel just Houston, Dallas, you're just going to be bored out of your mind there. I feel like most people from Houston don't even like it. I mean, I don't know. It depends what your goals are. Like, I mean, American dream goals, you have the family, the house, all that. I'm sure it could be good for that, but, generally for connections and other things. I mean, you can meet people and find good people in any place in the world, I think. Any place that has a decent population. But, I mean, depends. Built to 25 to 21. Okay, Tennis, that's, I was really impressed with Nashville. I went there for the first time for the Bitcoin conference last year, and I was really impressed with Nashville because Tennessee is a zero income tax state, which is good. A lot of people have moved to Tennessee. Your climate is, I mean, not as warm as I would like it to be, but it's still a hell of a lot better than freaking New York or, Northeast. That's out of good places to live in America. I would say Nashville, South Florida, probably Austin, Texas. Some parts of Arizona, I think, could be like a Phoenix. Hot as hell in the summer, though. Phoenix is good. And then Las Vegas, pretty good. And I'd probably stay out of California. I'd rather be in Vegas or somewhere else. Not even just for the taxes, for other reasons, too. But, those would be the main places I would live in America. Vegas, let's say. I mean, if you want to be in the mountains, there could be some cool place. Like some parts of Colorado, good for VO2 max or whatever the hell. Good for your lungs, your heart, some place in the mountains. I haven't spent that much time in Denver or whatever. Colorado is pretty wacky and liberal, but nowadays, but yeah. let's see. Cobb County is North Atlanta. Oh, that's Georgia. Okay. I mean, Georgia's got state income taxes, which are not that, which are pretty high, I think, too. Um, that's what I hear from a lot of people in California. I mean, that's a lot of people. Yeah, what keeps once you have family and all that, they stay for those reasons. I mean, it's a reasonable reason to stay. I mean, if I was in that position, I'd probably stay too. And I mean, California, good weather. I mean, there's a lot to be desired too. It's worse than it was, but it's not like it's a big state too. I mean, 40 million people. It depends where you go. I mean, there's amazing parts and terrible parts like everywhere else. Let's see. That's why Trump is upset this season. America's ones and shit whole country. Yeah. It definitely is true. Yeah. I mean, the homeless problem is a big thing. Towards that, how tolerated it is, in California. Trying to think, and you are seeing that in some other states too. You don't really, I mean, you see homeless people everywhere. You've kind of always seen that, but California kind of got crazy. Yeah. Cold winters, 20s, 30s. I feel like it doesn't get. Does it really get in the 20s that often in Nashville, man? Like, is it that? Like, I feel like that's not. Like, I feel like, can you keep a pool open most of the year in Nashville? Like, do you know? Like, when do you have to close a? When do you have to close a pool in Nashville, if ever? Can you leave a pool open all year there? Well, if it gets at 20s, probably not. But I don't even know. But East End, yeah. Yeah, I mean the Asian cities are pretty. I mean Kuala Lumpur is pretty good. I mean Bangkok. Kuala Lumpur is a little bit more boring, but Bangkok's really good. I haven't been to Hong Kong, but I mean, well, that's more expensive. But I mean, I'll probably go there at some point. I mean, you got Tokyo, freaking 40 million people in that one city. It's got to be a place to go. Yeah. Vietnam, I've been to Ho Chi Minh. It was pretty good. Taiwan, I liked a lot. Probably a shame what's going to end up happening to them in a few years, but well, maybe even 10 years. But yeah. I think Latin America. I mean, Mexico. I think it keeps getting better and better. Costa Rica is kind of pretty good. It's been a few years since I've been 2 years since I've been there. The rest of South America. I mean, Colombia is. I was pretty impressed with. I think the safety is a little bit of a concern still in Colombia. It depends who you talk to on that, but be careful with that. Argentina, I was really impressed with. Buenos Aires, I mean, it's coming into the fall season. It was getting a little cold there. Like, I don't know if it's the best climate. You're kind of, there are no nice beaches, really. At least, he'd have to go to other places for beaches there. It's not known for that. Chile, pretty good, but I don't know. Definitely not a place I'd want to live for that long. Peru, same thing. Peru is pretty cool, but I don't know if I'd want to live there. Places I could see, I kind of like more. It depends too. How about the food in Asia? It's in Taiwan. It's freaking excellent. Taiwan has probably some of the best food in Asia. I've heard Hong Kong too, and then Japan. Those are the big three. Vietnam, pretty good food if you like that type of food. Thailand, very good food if you like that type of food. I mean, for like high quality meats, I would say like Latin America is probably the highest there. El Salvador, I've heard the food is not as good. I've heard El Salvador is a bit expensive for somewhere in Latin America because they use the U.S. dollar. That's what I've heard. Heard their infrastructure isn't where it should be, where it needs to be yet, but it'll probably continue to improve. I'll probably go there at some point. I mean, it's safe to, kind of safe to go there now. But yeah. I mean, Mexico, I mean, nice beaches and stuff. For nice beaches, you can't really go wrong with Mexico. I mean, Thailand, obviously, really good for that. Malaysia, I haven't been to the beaches in Malaysia, but I've heard very good. Vietnam, obviously, very good. Bali, freaking beautiful. Too many stray dogs. And you're trying to lay on the beach in Bali, you got a damn stray dog running into you, so be careful with that. But Venezuela, oh man, that's a great question. Hopefully they'll get better. Yeah, hopefully it won't be on the do not travel list in a few years. We hope things get better and we overturn the communism and all that shit. So yeah, really is a sad situation there. So yeah. Let's see. Knoxville close. That's the others. How far is that? How far is Knoxville away from Nashville? I don't even know. Okay, closed pools roughly in late September. Oh, that's the time they close them in frickin' in Connecticut. That's the time yeah. Water out in case it does freeze. You see 20s, 30s, 40s. More, but my street froze over half an inch in ice. Okay. Is Knoxville colder than Nashville? I don't even know. I have no idea. I thought for some reason I thought Nashville like average high in the winter was like 50 or 60. Like which is a hell of a lot warmer than what you normally deal with in like, Connecticut or New York or Northeast, But yeah. I mean there's other, things there's other things that other factors too, for what state you live in. I mean, what we do know is what likely will happen is, I hate to say it, but obviously it's probable that China will continue to develop at a faster rate than America, and other countries will continue to develop at faster rates than America. The thing too is like healthcare is the big issue in America. And if you watch like Naval Ravikant on Chris Williamson's podcast, came out a few weeks ago or a month ago now. He was talking about like Ozempic essentially being the biggest like kind of medical breakthrough in the last 100 years, really since antibiotics. And if that really could do especially the obesity problem in America being such an issue. The average person's not going to be able to afford that crap for, and then once everybody starts using it, I mean, there's going to be more pressure to get it from other countries too. That's going to be a big thing, especially for Americans, because like, I mean, 80% of Americans are overweight, 75-80% are considered overweight. So, it's a big thing there. Kind of becomes a problem. Yeah, that's the other thing too, especially like for dating. That's why America's so tough, because every freaking I mean, statistically, every person's overweight. Not everyone, but you know what I mean. And it's like that. The people that aren't, the people that are like not overweight, they're just so above everyone else. It's like there's no middle ground. That's an interesting thing too. That's why America's still like such a good place to live if you're like very, 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 very like top like 0.01%. You know what I mean? Like 1 out of 1,000 people. If you're better in better in if you're in top 0.1% of 1%, yeah, it's a great place. A little different weather. Nashville's more on the flat side. Okay. I think. They probably still close pools in Nashville. I just wonder like when you could swim in a pool until in Nashville. I ask stupid questions that probably no one gives a shit about, but probably I would guess you could probably get a few days in November, and then once you get to December, it's probably too cold, and then once you get to March, you probably get a few days in the 70s or whatever. That's what I would guess. You probably would have to close it for 3 months. You probably could get away with keeping it open, but you'd probably have to run the filter a lot in the winter months to prevent it from freezing. That's what I would guess. I think the same thing could be said for Virginia. I think that it's south of Virginia, right? Like Virginia Beach. That's where it starts. That's where the climate starts to get a little bit more like tolerable. Let me see. Where's it? Yeah, it's right at Virginia. It's a little bit south of Virginia Beach. I think that's like the area where the climate gets a little bit like more from freaking like 4 seasons to like no winter. How am I a true conservative? In what way? Why do you think that? thinking here. That's the one takeaway. I don't know. So America is boring in some ways. Like the American lifestyle too. Like the thing everybody talks about, the Matrix. You go to work, you go home, you do it's very repetitive and very boring in a lot of ways. If you have a hell of a lot of money, and I'm talking 500K a year or more, 400K, well probably 300K would be the minimum. Then it gets a little bit more like fun in some ways, but for the average American, like I think that's part of the reason why they're so overweight too. Not to say people aren't overweight in other places, but I feel like the food and the dopamine from that is what you need because it gets boring, man. Like even if you're in Florida, I mean, it's just too repetitive. It gets boring in some ways. I don't know. It gets boring in some ways. Not to say it's a bad place to live. I think it's one of the best places, but Morning. Let's see. Where are you where it would be morning? Asia? Yeah, JJ. I mean, that's most Americans. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it. I mean, I'm not saying it's. I'm sure it could be a hell of a lot worse for the average person in a lot of other countries, but I'm just saying for the average America, it does get kind of. I'm not knocking America. Like, there's people that knock America, like nomad capitalists and all that. There's people that really knock America. They're wrong. I think it just depends what you're looking for, what you want. Everybody's situation is different. Usually they open Memorial Day, close Labor Day, maybe. Naturally get an extra month. Oh, okay. So usually they close Memorial Day or Labor Day. Okay, I guess it does get pretty cold there. Well, I mean, in Connecticut, we used to swim in the water until end of September. We had a heater. Well, we would go when it was cold too, but I mean, I like to do the ice bath crap. I would go in be in October, but it was cold. It was like 50 degrees. Stay in like 10 minutes or something. Yeah. Australia. Oh, okay, Australia. What time is that? What time would it be in Australia? I would guess like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's very like culturally in America too. It's like you're either there's three main like demographics of America. Like I would say, well, so the biggest one is obviously that like working middle class. Like that's your nurses, your people kind of in that 9 to 5. It's predictable jobs that are respectable but not like insanely impressive and allow a lot of freedom or whatever. And I mean, if you have those jobs, they're hard to get now, and it gets harder and harder. It seems like so. Really commend you for that. It's not easy for most people. Even like those sales, a lot of sales, you can make a decent amount. I know some people have done very well in sales, just software sales or whatever. There's that demographic, which is probably the majority of America. I don't know what percent. And then there's like the subset, the lower set of that demographic that kind of just lives with their parents. Maybe they have a college education, maybe they don't. A little bit lower. Maybe they're in between jobs, can't hold a job. Whatever, or they live with a bunch of roommates. It's not the most glamorous thing. It's kind of boring. Maybe they smoke pot a lot. Maybe they get Uber Eats a lot on the weekends. They're not really desirable for girls. I'm talking more of a male perspective, not too desirable for girls. Kind of just a boring life. Maybe they're frustrated. They're not that ambitious in a lot of ways. Maybe they have some anxiety. Whatever. And I think we've all kind of been there or felt that way at one point, whether we'd like to admit it or not. Below that, that's where you get into like kind of more poor, unfortunately, like more inner cities, people like that. And then below that would obviously, unfortunately, the sad part, people addicted to drugs, mentally ill, people who are homeless. And then above the nurses, nurses, sales, above, like, let's talk about, income. People in the 150, let's say 80K to 150K, it's a little, depends how it costs of living where you are, but in America, but above the, like, 150K, once you get to that 200K, you'd have to be a lawyer or doctor, high end, or business person. Usually the business person kind of has more of the freedom in that, so once you get to that point, then there's like, so doctor or lawyer, you don't have much free time, unfortunately, generally. Sometimes you do a little bit, but not really. Those jobs usually want blood out of you from what I see. Um, from there, above that, you kind of have, entrepreneurs or, I don't know, trust fund babies. But let's say, people, entrepreneurs, people who start businesses, kind of retirees, a lot of that baby boomer generation that's now retired that made a shit ton of money, whatever it may have been, doctor, lawyer, business, finance, whatever. Finance would be a big thing there too, there, like hedge fund, that kind of higher end of America. And those people, that's the thing too, because their lives are, in my view, even if you live in a Miami, even if their lives, I'm not saying like they're really fun, but you kind of get bored with it a little bit, in my opinion. Maybe they don't, but you go out to really nice places. It's really cool. I've been there, done that. Your country club, all that. You definitely can meet a lot of smart people, but I don't know. It gets a little bit boring. But that's kind of the most fun lifestyle, highest quality lifestyle, like playing golf, those type of things. Like, that's kind of the most fun I've had, like in America, especially in the warmer climates. Some people like colder climates, I like warmer climates. The summers are nice in New England though, especially if we're playing golf and that type of stuff. Like that kind of that's the thing that brings me back to America a lot of times, for at least a month in summer, the Northeast. That good kind of summer climate. Allergies still bother me there, but all the freaking deciduous trees or whatever. But that's kind of what brings me back there. And there's that culture and that kind of history there. It still gets a little bit boring, but it's cool. Let's see. Trump don't card to blackmail China with tariffs. We import 65 for goods for China. Yeah. Let's see. Of all places, so that's a really tough question. Because the thing there, digital asset G-Gen is like, if I had to pick one place, oh man, if I had to pick one place, probably it would be probably one of the beach towns in Mexico, man. I'm thinking about it, It depends what you want, but what comes to mind is maybe where I am right, maybe around Playa del Carmen, maybe, or Puerto Vallarta, maybe one of those two, And maybe even a little bit better in Costa Rica. Costa Rica was up there, Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. But these parts, higher population, I kind of like too, more here. So it could be here, it could be here. I like to try. I think it's ticks a lot of boxes. Thailand has a lot of good beach places like that, though. You could find that in other places in the world, but I like the Spanish. It could be here, but it's not. There's a lot of places that are even. A lot of places that are even with that. Taiwan was up there for Asia. I was really impressed with Taiwan. Really, really impressed in terms of the food, especially. Um, yeah, with the China, I think not too much will come out of that. It's just going to be, negotiation and all that. Let's look at CNBC. Um, mm, good food, affordable, beach, good what? Yeah, that's where you would. Other places you would find that if you want the beach. Parts of Malaysia definitely. Thailand definitely. Vietnam definitely. Bali, Indonesia. Bali, I think, is a little bit oversaturated these days. There's just so many people there. It's just so kind of oversaturated. I think their infrastructure is pretty bad. There's too many damn scooters. They're not that safe. I've done it, but I mean, eventually you're probably going to get into some accident on those. Seems like it happens to everybody who goes there. Food quality is not the best in Indonesia. It's not the most hygienic place either. I mean, it's not like India, but I mean, it's definitely not the most hygienic place. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think I like Thailand a little bit better. I mean, for big cities in the world, trying to think big cities to live in the world. Bangkok is definitely up there. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is one of them I liked. I think I liked Bangkok more though. Yeah, Bangkok I like more. Other than that, I mean, Ho Chi Minh's decent, but I liked Bangkok more. Um, Taipei, Taiwan was really good. That's definitely up there. Bangkok's so cool when you're in those high rises, man. Like there's especially those rooftop pools in some of those high rises, and they're not that expensive to rent or live in too. I've stayed in a few of those. Like that is something that's going to cost you 10 grand a month. Okay, cool. You can find that there, but like for somebody who only makes 100, 200, 300 grand a year, not $1 million a damn year. Bangkok's one of them where you can find those high rises and those views and that sunset. It's hard to match that, man. It's hard to match that. It's definitely hard to match that. Mm. Yeah, Philippines. I've been to Manila. It was decent. Let's see, Philippine friend of Bali told me a lot of Russians report. Yeah, that's the I don't want to get like but they're at Bali there are a lot. I mean, not to like knock that's just naturally what you'd expect. There are hell of a lot of Russians in Southeast Asia now. They're kind of they're their own thing. I mean, a lot of them don't speak the best English. They're kind of cliquey with each other and talk to each other. And I mean, a lot of them kind of don't want to like it's kind of a tough situation because a lot of them probably would rather be in Russia, but then you got risk of being drafted, being on the front lines, and all that stuff. So it's really a sad situation. But it does get they are pretty cliquey. There's a ton of them in Bali. That's the problem with Bali too, because it's just all expat, all kind of that it's just so oversaturated. It almost feels like you're in frickin' America or Western Europe in some ways. Like almost feels like you're in much Florida with terrible falling apart infrastructure. You know what I mean? I even heard that there's only OF. I don't know if you're supposed to, yeah, OF girls that Western OF girls that live in Bali and they're working remotely, you know what I mean? So like once you get to that point, you're just like, oh, this is the reason I left the West to not deal with this, this nonsense, people like this, but that's what's there. So that, I think there's better places in Southeast Asia than Bali. That's just my opinion. I mean, there's good people in Bali, it's real good, but I don't know if I'd want to live there. It's just too oversaturated nowadays. Like maybe pre-COVID, it would have been much better, but I don't know. What's up, FG? How's it going, man? We got to get on a call. We got to get a collab going. I hope you're doing. Yeah, yeah. The thing too. Yeah, it's for the. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm sure a lot of like people in other places complain about too many Americans and too many of this and all those type of things. That's the other thing too that kind of gets like there's always going to be other places to go, but as what's like you don't want you kind of take away the old culture from a place when you have too many foreigners. Like you kind of want your I don't know. I want to try to say it to be politically correct and be equitable, but I mean, you want to you keep some of the culture of the place, So yeah, but shout out to FG. I'm sure all you guys know FG, Nick Cipher. He does a lot of really good stuff. So check out his channel too. Sure, he's been doing some good TA. What do you think? Where do you think FG? Where do you think the markets are gonna go? Let's check out your channel for a second. Let's see. Let's see. They've complete, yeah. I like the thumbnails. Check out 5K subscribers. You gotta get some more, man. You gotta get some more subscribers, man. Get up, subscribe to FG. Yeah. But yeah, guys. And by the way, if you're interested in trading, BitFi is great. Have not had an issue with them. BloFin's great too. 10% off your fees for life with both of those, and then there's like the deposit bonuses too. If you want to get a Bitcoin conference ticket, check it out. Link down below. Pretty good deal, 10% off of my link. And as always, if you guys sign up to any of those things, buy a Bitcoin conference ticket, deposit at least $100 in the exchanges, give you one free month in the Altcoin Empire VIP Discord. Just open a support ticket with your UID. Here's the latest kind of trades here. Sui swing long did incredibly well. Already hit first take profit. What an amazing trade. Sport ticket right here. So check it out. Discount code if you want to pay in crypto too. So yeah. You do see a lot of, like, if you want to meet influencers, like, obviously other than like a Miami or an LA, like the place to go would probably be Bali. That would probably be I mean, New York City obviously, but really like the third place in the world, like Bali. But like I mentioned, the sad part is there's these damn ceiling fans models there. It's just becoming too freaking westernized. I hope that's really not how the future is, where everything's freaking just so goddamn simpish, and well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully that won't be the way, but maybe with money and as GDP per capita gets higher, it's just how it is. Europe? What about Europe? People like Eastern Europe. I think Europe's climate's too cold for my tastes. I think it would be cool to go to, the Nordic states, Copenhagen, that stuff. Sweden's not as safe as it used to be. But Norway, Finland, Copenhagen, those would be cool to visit in the summer months. Serbia, I've heard good things about, some Eastern Europe places, but I'm not really cold weather type of guy per se, so yeah. To Dubai is another one with a lot of influencers. I mean, Bali's obviously going to be. I mean, if you're a financial influencer, it depends on the influencer. Dubai. I like Dubai. I definitely wouldn't live there. I don't think. I mean, it's good. I don't hate. I like. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Spain. What about Spain? I mean, I think Spain's decent. I don't know if I'd live. I'd rather live in Latin America for a Spanish-speaking country. It'd be cool to visit Spain in the summer, like every single American and their brother does, and they're annoyed with the amount of tourists there now. But Valencia, Spain, I've heard is pretty good. So yeah, just depends what you're looking for, Just thinking here, why not live in Spain? I don't know. I don't have any. I don't like it enough. I like Mexico better. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up in on about an hour and 23 minutes. So I will see you guys soon. Check out the Discord, check out the links down below if you want to trade. I think there's some good opportunities in the market, especially a little freebie right here. I think this will play out pretty well. So check it out. I think we're still going to hopefully do pretty well and see ETH at 2,000 hopefully before we know it. And Bitcoin, back to 100K or whatever. Others versus Bitcoin. So there's a lot of potential here. See what happens with Trump and all that. So, yeah, really appreciate you guys.